And it's that same pragmatism that went to KL last week and bought my daughter 4 Manchester City jerseys from the Pasamalam. Why? Because they're winning. But the point is, she's just a young girl. They're winning, so she likes Manchester City. People like Lion City Sailors because they're winning. Welcome back to part 2 of Yahoo Footballing Weekly. As always, with me, Yahoo columnist Neil Humphreys.
And me, Yahoo editor Chia Keong. And our guest here, Rasvinder.
Hey, how are you guys doing, man?
Great to have him back because Rasvinder organises football competitions in Singapore.
Grassroots competitions.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about later his latest tournament, which is like no other tournament Singapore has ever produced before.
One of a kind, yeah.
So do stay with us for that. And as always, because you do follow us and watch us every week, we do appreciate it. As Han Keong says, thank you so much. We have a sponsor. You know that by now.
Yeah.
Our friends at StarHub. And as always, got something for you.
Well, StarHub, you is their official Premier League broadcaster in Singapore. So if you sign up for the Premier League package this season, they're going to give you one really good deal. 1 year free broadband for your every internet needs, for your streaming needs, everything, 1 year free broadband.
It makes me cry, Han Keong.
Yeah.
I say this every week. It makes me cry.
Why don't we get this kind of
I'm
deal?
not making this up. Being completely honest, yesterday I got my bill, my telco bill, and I said to my wife, do you know the deal I could have got with StarHub if I wasn't locked into this contract, which I will not mention, but I'm not making that up. It's absolutely true. 1 year free broadband.
Yeah, 1 year free broadband. Absolutely
God,
good
it
deal.
annoys me.
So
but you should have it. Yeah. You should have it.
Please go down to the website and you can get the deal.
Brilliant stuff as always. Great comments as well. Thank you so much. Every week, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything else, YouTube.
Yep.
What have we got?
Well, we got 2 pretty good comments here. So from 73 Sebo.
I like this one.
Yeah, the thing about SG football, and it transpires clearly in this episode of this podcast, is when we talk about EPL and European football, we talk exciting moments in the matches, astute analysis, hilarious banter. When it comes to Singapore football, it's usually about organisational issues, funding, nostalgia, and a good dose of establishment bashing. There is Singapore Cup matches happening this weekend, but hardly any press match previews from mainstream news.
When I read this, I thought to myself, don't tell anyone, but this guy has kind of nailed our podcast.
Yes,
it's like
kind of true.
He's completely nailed the entire template of our podcast. And I was so impressed because I took a step back. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Through no thought of our own, by the way, and I'll get to that. Generally speaking, he's right. EPL stuff, it's more tactical analysis, colour, humour. And then we get to the local stuff, and it's more administrative, logistics, no pitches, no this, no that. But there is a reason for that. I think what the commenter's done very smartly is he's defined the unique football culture we have here. And the truth is, we don't have a local football culture here. We have a local football whacking culture here. And it's very clear pattern. So as he mentions the Singapore Cup, he's right. We'll go through the regular season, Singapore Premier League, AFC Cup, whatever. And you and I will talk about it almost every week. But there's very little coverage elsewhere. There's very little comments on social media. Then the Lions play in a tournament. Everyone. And everybody comes out. Every critic comes out because they attack the Lions, they attack FAS, they attack the government, they attack the establishment. So it's not really about the football. It's about people who have an agenda, who use the football to attack whatever initiatives or agendas they have.
They were actually putting on the comments, saying, are you going to talk about Singapore versus Guam? Are you going to talk about it? Because we are going to talk about it.
Exactly.
That's on the comments page,
And so clearly, it's not that we don't have a football culture per se, a local football culture per se. In Singapore, as a nation, we don't come to watch the football. We come to attack the football culture and what's behind it. And that's the sad part.
To watch.
No, exactly.
Yeah. What I feel about this is,
good comment.
Yes, it's a very good summary of what we talk about and think. But it doesn't mean that we are supporting EPL and not supporting Singapore.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that.
Far from it. There's a way which you can support both Singapore football and EPL football.
Correct.
yes, we are critical of things happening in Singapore football because it is not as well run as English Premier League or for other leagues in Europe. There are some issues that need to be addressed. But it doesn't mean that we hate Singapore football.
No,
It's
I
never
agree.
our plan. We never said in the podcast that we don't like Singapore football. It's not worth your support. No, it is. We love Singapore football. We support Singapore football. But there are issues that really, really need to be addressed.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be my next point. If we just did the stereotypical thing, which is Tekan, whack, 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 the podcast would only be 5 minutes long, right? We wouldn't have anything to talk about. Every week, we always talk about, especially you, always talk about the latest games, the latest fixtures, what's coming up, what's ahead. We always go into that. So we do cover it. And in fairness, there are others. Let's be fair. There's Deepan and Raushan, this young gentleman beside us, Rasvinder, our good friends Eddie and the loony fans at LCS. You've got the Halgung Halls. My point is, there are pockets of fans and pockets of media, social media support, podcasts all over Singapore. All we need is a little bit more. So it's a bit unfair to say we don't cover week to week because we do. We all do. All three of us do here.
And
Eddie does, Raushan does, Deepan does, and there are others as well. But yes, we do need to get more people who don't just whack every week, but actually just follow.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I feel that's true. He's talked about nostalgia. I remember the days where you had newspaper and you had a lot of coverage on S-League, matches coming up, match report, match previews, the players. Everyone knew who these players were and the clubs, and you could see that. Of course, now we've gone past the era of newspapers, but still, what is mentioned is also true. There's not much coverage on local football. On that matter, also, we can't even get information about local football from years ago, from when the S-League started. So that's also another issue.
We'll get to that. Don't worry. But to be fair, I'm not here to champion, the mainstream media or anybody else. But Han Keong and I've worked for all three. I've worked for Today Newspaper, Straits Times, and the New Paper for many, many years. And I wrote football, local and international, for all of them. However, and Han Keong will know this, there's a slight chicken and egg situation, isn't there, as well? Because we would try diligently to cover local football, but then the feedback was no one was reading it. So then we'd end up putting in more EPL to try to get advertisers and so on, right? We would try.
Yeah, we would try. And I think the Straits Times, I think they are still trying.
Yeah.
But they do cover weekly the top games of the week. But obviously, they have so many. They are covering so many different sports. You can't dedicate a whole page like newspaper did pages to them. No, you can't. Yeah. So no, that might. But you got to dig a bit harder to find out where they report in. But they're still doing that.
Yeah. But what do you think? Do we have a local football culture, a genuine local football culture, or is it just a local football whacking culture? Send all your comments to
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo _MY on Yahoo on Twitter, and Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Which leads us nicely to a very nice comment, a very good comment.
These
one.
two I saw.
And a new one, Sydney.
Yeah, Sydney Gronks 8467. Thank you for writing in. Hi guys, long time listener, first time contributor. Nice.
Thank you, Sydney.
What is your view on roughly half of Lion City Sailors being foreign players in the starting lineup, not the full squad, spending big on players for the Champions League and questionably not performing despite the investment, although still early days. Importantly, spending the big bucks and still unable to win the Singapore Premier League. Do note that I'm an LS Lion City Sailors fan and have a few perspectives to privatization of club and their fans' success and contribution to Singapore football.
Okay, you guys go first because I think my view might surprise you.
Okay. What I feel is, it's a question of patience. and you obviously, the Sailors had won the league before. That's just 2 years ago. Yes, they haven't dominated like you might wish them to win like Man City win every season, but they are always top two and even won it on 2021, I think. So that already shows that this team is a strong team. And you might say that there are foreign players and stuff, but the foreign players add that flavor. People will want to come to watch Maxime Lestienne, and they want to watch Diego Lopez in action because they are that good. Otherwise, who else do you want to come to watch the league games? And I really believe that privatization of the club is actually the way forward. You can't rely on government keep on giving you seed money to run the club, even though the club is like struggling already. It's still like only reliant on the seed money from the government, and then not doing any much else to lift up the standard of the football. You got Lion City Sailors. They set up their own training center. Everything they do is like exactly how a modern football club should be run.
I agree. Actually, we're probably going to agree then.
Yeah.
Rasvinder, what do you think?
I don't feel as an issue there. I think patience is a key word here because you got to be patient. You've also seen a lot of managerial turnover at LCS.
That's the key.
You got to be patient with that. So you got to let the manager stick to one. Go through it, see how that goes. I think probably people are thinking, okay, maybe LCS is privatized. They've got all these big shots in. They must win immediately.
Yeah.
Do what JDT is doing in the Malaysian League. I feel that's the benchmark they have in this region to do something like what JDT is doing. But it's not always the case because Albirex is also a very good team and they are a very well organized team.
And established for much longer in
and
Singapore.
Got really good, technically good players. So you got to be patient because LCS always has these moments during the season where they have a blackout and then they lose games here, drop points there, and also.
Yeah,
you never know with them.
Consistency like Albirex,
they could still win the Singapore Cup. They're still in the running.
Yeah.
So just be patient. The privatization, I think yes, Singapore football. I think the clubs need that. Need that badly. A lot of clubs like what you say. Seed money alone not enough, and a lot of clubs try their best. Also, I feel to get sponsors, get people come on board. But then in a lot of cases, I think they get rebuffed because. Everyone will say, what's that in it for me? What I get from it? All that kind of questions you receive back again. Who's watching the league? All that always comes back. In a way, it's a bit of chicken and egg also. But clubs struggle because of this issue, and so they make do with what they have. Therefore, it affects the quality on the pitch, and so they're limited. So you need privatization. You need people coming out there. I think a lot of people in Singapore love football. They watch football. But, those that have the money bags that love football and watch football, they should come out there, support your...
follow Forest League.
I agree.
Come out there, support your...
We all agree that. I thought we might disagree because when it comes to the Sailors, yes, of course, ideally, I would say, the whole team would be mostly local with 2 or 3 good foreigners.
Actually, most of the national team is in there.
Right? Exactly. But then my pragmatism takes over, and it's that same pragmatism that went to KL last week and bought my daughter 4 Manchester City jerseys from the Pasar Malam.
Dear.
Why? Because they're winning. But the point is, she's just a young girl. They're winning, so she likes Manchester City. People like Lion City Sailors because they're winning. We're not in this position where we're beggars here. Beggars can't be choosers. I don't really care at this moment in time what Lion City Sailors have to do to compete. If they have to fill their side with foreigners, so it means they get more successful in Asia and then hopefully locally, and therefore the next generation comes along and wants Lion City Sailors jerseys from the Pasar Malam. Buy real ones, not fake ones. I'm all for that, We're not in a position where we can choose. We need the best team we can. And if that means filling the Sailors with foreigners in the short term, then do it.
And they have
whatever
the
it takes.
financial strength to do it. They do
Whatever it takes. I couldn't agree more with what you guys have said. All right, now, sticking with Singapore football. Lots of comments this week online about the Lions game, which you saw with Guam. I saw highlights of it.
Correct. So I was at the National Stadium watching them beat Guam 2-1 in the World Cup first round qualifier, and then I watched on TV their game in Guam. It's at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, 12:45 in the afternoon, and they struggled in the sun, but
1-0,
eventually got a 1-0 win. Okay, got through 3-1 aggregate into the second round, and now they're gonna face you see their team, the teams they are facing against: South Korea, Song Heung-min and all, China, big country, a lot of players, and Thailand, who we are our toughest Southeast Asian opponents ever. So all of us, you can see it online. Everybody said, there is no way we're gonna get through to the next round. But okay, fine. I think that is the normal sentiment, I believe. But since this is this way, we have nothing to lose. No, we have no pressure. Just go out and have a good time and try to frustrate the other teams. Just make them as tough, make the game as tough as possible. And good luck. Who knows what will happen against Thailand? Maybe Thailand, they are up and down at the moment. So we'll see.
Yeah, true. There's one comment someone made I saw online. South Korea recently trashed Vietnam 6-0.
Yes.
So they were saying, oh, if they can trash Vietnam 6-0, wonder what's going to happen to Singapore. But I always say this, it's every game is a story of its own.
Yeah.
So you never know. Once upon a time, Singapore went and drew against Japan, 0-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, obviously, it's a tough ask. They're not going to beat any of these teams, I think. But
I think we got a chance against China. It depends on how
Maybe.
good or bad China are. But
Yes, it would need, let's be frank, it would need a bit of a miracle in any of the games. I mean, the first game, I think, is November the 16th, away to South Korea. Which of the Fandies do we have back by then?
I think Iran will be back.
Okay.
Probably Irfan. Maybe some might be a bit dodgy. But
Okay.
Irfan maybe. Yeah.
Well, let's just hope for a miracle. Let's hope for a miracle, and we come back here and talk about a fluke result. Who knows? What do you think? Send us your comments as always. But a tournament that we can get very excited about that involves Singaporean players has been organised by this gentleman here. Singapore's first mixed gender futsal tournament. Fantastic.
It's actually starting today.
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, yeah,
Goes
yeah,
out
yeah,
a day or two
yeah,
after.
yeah,
It goes out later. It's starting today.
Okay.
Okay, so it's starting on Thursday, October 26th. And tell us more about this.
Yes.
Yeah, so I had this idea to do this probably near the start of my time with D2D Sports, and that was like 2011 when I had the idea to do this. So at that time, I was pitching for the women 5-a-side and this mixed gender 5-a-side. And of course, the mixed gender one didn't get much traction. I probably got one or two queries about it, but it didn't fly off, So the women's one, after some perseverance, it got off the road, and we had about 12 seasons before COVID hit us. Now we're down to doing a monthly cup for the women. So yeah, back to this point. So this idea came back to me again when we normally organize a charity tournament every year where we provide all the proceeds from that match to charity. So in that charity tournament, I select the players, players that have played in our leagues, and I form teams, and they're always mixed. So there will be male players, there'll be female players all playing on one team. So I thought, why not? Why not do a league? I've also seen around as well, people have casual kickabouts where they are mixed groups, men and women playing together. And there's another thought that came to me through one of the teams that registered that, it's actually a good idea because then you will get like husbands and wives playing in one team, boyfriend, girlfriends playing in one team. A lot of times
Have you got any of that? Have you got
yeah,
any?
probably we would have. I would be interviewing them when I go on tonight. So I'll be watching them, and then I'll speak to more of the teams to get a better understanding of the background. But you will have father and daughter. Maybe you could get that kind of relations.
You and
you and your daughter, maybe.
She's probably better than me at this point, but yes. So I'm just curious because our listeners and viewers will think the same. Mixed gender. It can be great fun. For some, it may be contentious. Not for me, I might add, but for some. So you've made some rule adjustments. Yeah. So tell us about some of the rule adjustments because they're fascinating.
Yeah. So when I thought about this league, I was looking along online to see if there's anyone else in the world that has done a league like this, but nobody has. So along the way, I've got some feedback from women players that have played my league, or some other coaches, that I'm friends with. They've made they've gave me a food for thought. So some of the adjustments I've made would be like, one would be any direct free kick fouls on women players will result immediately in a penalty. So that's to protect their safety. Because some women players are afraid. They might feel it's a good idea, but they're afraid they're playing against men. It's a league. It's competitive, so they're afraid they might get a bit too aggressive, so they don't want to get injured. That's one. The other one would be to encourage teams to field more women players and also women players in outfield players instead of just fielding a women player, a token player, maybe as a centre back or in goal. You know, someone who probably an attacker and all. Every goal scored by a women player is worth 2 goals.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So it's like a cheat code, no? I mean, this rule also is.
But does that? I'm just playing devil's advocate. I can imagine some women finding that a bit patronising.
Yeah,
Is
no.
it-
There's also another thought behind it. Is because I'm trying to refresh the rules a bit, keep it a bit fun. You know, we've been running leagues and tournaments for so many years. There's always the same rules in every tournament, every league, and also you try and do. You know, like what PK has done is Kings football, right?
Yeah.
Kings League, and his rules are completely out of whack. You know, not not the norm football rules at all. So I'm just thinking out of the box a bit. So yeah, I know you might get some comments like that. Patronizing towards women players or being biased towards them. So but we'll see how that goes. We'll see how
it'll be fun.
we'll see how the feedback is as well.
If
after
I,
one season,
if I was a coach, I would just give the ball to my playmaker, dribble, and say, just give a tap in to every girl, right? 2 goals, 2 goals, 2 goals. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Can anyone get involved or sign up?
So now there are 6 teams, right?
Yeah.
so
6 teams.
there are 6 teams now for season 1.
So how long is the season?
Or season will last until about February.
And where's it played?
We played at the games will be played at Kickoff Coven. You can come anytime.
Kickoff Coven, that's a nice place.
What is there any way they can read where to find out about the fixtures or where to watch? Or?
Yeah, the fixtures we have. I'll provide you the link. The website. We have a website where we have all the fixtures, all the statistics. We have a dedicated Facebook page for this league as well.
Nice.
So we'll have match reports after every round of matches. So yeah, you'll have that. You can so there's Facebook, there's Instagram, our D2D Instagram page. You'll get a general view of everything that we're doing. But if you want specialized, a dedicated one, we got a dedicated Facebook page for the league and the website.
Brilliant. Well, I wish you the best of luck for it. And that ties in very nicely to our last topic. I think you are going to keep better statistical records than our own professional league, because this brings us to the final topic. Topo Stadium is about to close down. Lots of memories. It opened in 1974, the year I was born. Of course, Balestier Central played there, now Balestier Khalsa. It's closing for redevelopment, the whole area, the swimming pool, I think the library eventually. It's going to be one big Topo hub, going to open in 2030. So,
7 years.
yeah, exactly. So, I thought I'd have a look today, because my first ever game in Singapore that I watched was at the Topo Stadium. It was either late 1996 or early 1997. I know it was Balestier, obviously. It was their home stadium. I can't remember who they played. I think Marko Kraljevic was up front.
With Esad.
Yes, Esad Sejic was there. I know it was either 3-1 or 3-2. It was great. It was full. The stadium was completely full, 3,000 to 4,000. Yes, they had the temporary steel seats that they put up on the tracks, both sides and round the back. So you had the old stone, quite decrepit stand that's always been there. That was full. But the steel temporary stands around the track were completely full. It was a great atmosphere. What we talk about, a real carnival atmosphere. They were selling Carol Pock and curry puffs and everything, and so on. It was everything that local football should be. It was one of my favourite early memories of my time in Singapore. Great stuff. So, today, I go online to try to find out what this match was. There is not a single statistic. There are not records kept. There is not a history of results. There are no, that I can find, S-League records of early seasons of our only professional sports league in Singapore. Doesn't even have basic home and away fixtures, results, goal scorers for all of its seasons that I could find. Am I wrong? I looked at FAS, I looked online. Right. I mean, you can get anywhere.
The past few seasons, you still could get the score on Wikipedia, I think, and the overall table, but that's as much as statistics you can get. Yeah. So it's shocking. Yeah. So I didn't. Okay, to be honest, I don't have good memories of Toa Stadium.
It's not a great stadium.
It's not a great stadium. As a journalist, when you go there and report, there's no modem in my younger days, and it was a hell to get stories transmitted across from that stadium. But I appreciate that it was there for such a long time, 74 to now, nearly 40 over years. And, it's like a constant part of Toa Payoh and
Yeah.
Balestier being all the way there until they had to move out.
Yeah, this season.
Yeah, it's a very charming little stadium. Eventually, it got to me like it's a charming little stadium. But
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, I didn't like to go and cover matches there.
I probably shouldn't say this, but I'll say it. I covered a game completely naively as a rookie reporter that I subsequently found out was Keong. Because it was reported that this was one of the games that was fixed. I had no idea. This was the 90s. It happened all the time.
it happens in
It happened
90s,
all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen
Well,
anymore.
what is your
What
best
about you?
memory of?
Oh, okay. So I just got involved with Balestier. This is my second season with Balestier. So obviously, due to my Malaysian allegiance, I never had a local football club that I would support. The closest would have been Hougang, but I never really got down to it. So Balestier, of course, due to my religion, the Balestier Khalsa. Khalsa is linked to Sikhism, and then of course the vice chairman is a secondary school friend of mine. So that's how I got involved with the club.
Balbi?
Don Darwin.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's how I got involved with the club, and I love going to Balestier Toa Payoh Stadium because it felt like a bit of a cheat code for us. I remember one of the best matches we had was beating LCS there. It was raining. It was field was
Away teams
muddy.
hate to go there,
It
I
was
remember.
soggy,
Yeah.
and Haris Harun had a disaster. He didn't know how to deal with our players. He was pulling us down, and he got himself sent off. He won. We won eventually 5-3. I think the game was like it got to 3-3, and then there was a heavy downpour. The referee had to call both set of players off. This was last season. So he called both sets of players off, so you didn't know the game would go on or not. There was a long wait until the rain subsided, and then the game restarted, and we literally took LCS to the cleaners that day. They had to go to the laundry because they
Memories,
were all wet.
man.
Yeah, so that was great memories. You're talking about records. I think I got to give a shout out to Balestier Khalsa's general manager, Timney Cheng. I think he's got you go to his Facebook page, he normally will sometimes just drop archives of
Yeah, he
old
does that.
games.
I saw that today.
Yeah,
On this day in
on this
1996.
day,
Yeah, he
and
does that a lot. Yeah.
He's got a very comprehensive record, and also my friend Gary Ko. I think he's got a lot of he's got lots of memories and records as well as a journalist like the two of you. Yeah, so
Great stuff. Well, as always, guys, what are your memories? Our local football fans, Toa Payoh Stadium.
Yeah.
Balestier loved it. Away teams hated it. They didn't like going to the Toa Payoh Stadium.
It was like going to Selhurst Park.
It was a bit of a Wimbledon, Millwall kind of vibe.
Wimbledon,
Park,
It had the old den vibes. What are your thoughts, memories of Toa Payoh Stadium, and what do you think should happen next? Send your comments too.
Yahoo Southeast Asia on YouTube, Yahoo SG, Yahoo_MY on Twitter, Yahoo SEA on TikTok.
Brilliant. Thanks again, Rasvinder, for coming in.
Welcome, my pleasure. I hope you call me back again.
Of course we will.
Hopefully we can come down and see the grassroots tournament.
Absolutely.
Mixed
Yeah,
tournament.
come
get
down
down
tonight.
Yes, tonight. Get down and support if you can. And one final shout out for our sponsor, StarHub.
StarHub, yep. Get their Premier League Plus package, 1 year free broadband. What a deal.
It just depresses me every day that I don't have this deal. Every day it depresses me. But it's a great deal for
Great deal.
you.
Go get it, man.
Thank you, as always, for watching. We'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. Take care. And get down to Toa Payoh Stadium before it closes.